Good evening and welcome to another episode of Super Deluxe Gamescast. It's Thursday, November 21st, week before Thanksgiving, at least for us. Jeff's already had his weird Canadian Thanksgiving. And Tara, I swear to God, if you stick your head into that pile of cords one more time, I'm not taking you back to the pound because I love you too much, but I'm going to yell at you on the podcast. I've got a pile of cords.
Let's circle back to Thanksgiving, John. You know what's weird is having two family turkey-focused holidays 3 weeks apart. That seems insane. I think it makes more sense to have
What's
them 2
the other
months
one?
apart.
I agree. Wait, well, hold on. Yeah, wait. What is the other one?
What's the second one?
Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Who the hell has turkey on
turkey
Christmas?
a traditional Christmas thing up there?
Everyone? Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
No, I do prime rib.
Well, that's not normal either.
Yeah, it's a lot more normal than fucking turkey on Christmas. Who does turkey
If you
on Christmas?
Google like Christmas dinner, the first result will be like turkey.
I thought
interesting. Maybe
you
it's
guys
just,
must have adapted because no one can do it again after Thanksgiving.
maybe it's just where like the part of the country I'm from, but I'm very like my Appalachian people. I'm so used to turkey on Thanksgiving, ham on Christmas. So,
yeah, I thought Christmas was a ham thing mostly. Like I do prime rib. I do prime rib because ham is mostly fucking overhyped garbage.
Because what is?
But ham.
I'll fight you, John.
Really?
I'll have you know, I make a truly wonderful cherry bourbon glazed spiral cut ham.
Yeah, I got a fucking ham you can glaze, bitch.
Don't really know what that means, but I don't like it.
I wouldn't.
Derek, what did you say? Repeat what you said earlier today about kicking people in the ass so hard.
Like, I'll kick your ass cheeks so hard they become shoulder pads. Yeah, that manic energy didn't last long. I had a briefly pretty good night last night in the midst of a truly awful stretch of life. And I think I woke up exactly in the right point of like a sleep cycle to actually be rested, despite only like 3 hours of sleep.
I looked at that message at 4:30 my time. It's like, it's too early.
So it's never too early for that. You know what? I saw that while I was on the train going to work this morning. Derek, I got to tell you, that gave me the pep I need to get me through my day.
I'm glad. It didn't give me the pep I needed to get through my day. It turns out I struggled, but.
Well, you know how hey, good evening, Chad. You know how we deal with struggle on this podcast? We drink. And I want to know, Derek, what are you drinking?
All right. So it's not a great call, but.
What are you? Oh, hold on. What?
At Britt's suggestion, I tried mixing bourbon and apple pie moonshine.
Oh, dude, Britt fucked with you.
Yeah,
why?
This didn't work out great.
No, why? Well, hold on. What was your ratio as a
50,
a former bartender? No, Derek. No. Okay, first of all, you don't fucking mix apple pie moonshine and you don't mix any kind of alcohol. You don't, Derek. Generally, you don't mix two different kinds of alcohols together. Okay?
Right, but I'm already here and I've already got it. So
that's not something that I would advise, right? Like it's one thing if we're talking about something like a White Russian, but Derek, stop drinking it. Just go get a drink.
The thing is, it's not awful. It's not awful. It just tastes kind of like slightly watered down bourbon. Like the apple doesn't come through is the thing.
Yeah. So what's the fucking point?
Like, yeah, I mean, it's not.
There's no point.
The point is that this whole thing is 80 proof, John. I'm not gonna not drink it.
You've got that one sad ice cube floating there. Where what you needed was a chunker like this lad in my old fashioned here.
Yeah.
Might I say, by the way, this old fashioned in my SDGC branded cocktail glass here.
Likewise.
Derek,
I'm trying to save. Here's the thing. I didn't have much apple pie moonshine left, so that already was like, what am I going to do with this? And I've still got a bit of the Gooch Hooch, but I'm not trying to drink all the. Like, I need to save the last of that Gooch Hooch for a special occasion.
What fucking special occasion are you going to use the Gooch Hooch for?
I don't know. But Britt has to be present because she bought it for me. So I can't drink the last of the Gooch Hooch unceremoniously off screen.
True.
All right. Listen up. Oh, Derek, actually, Jeff, real quick, you're drinking decaf tonight, right? You're not drinking the hard shit.
Yeah, I've been drinking less. It's been helping. Been doing good for me.
Good,
So
good.
yeah.
I find that as times progress in these days, I am drinking more. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Also
I actually,
a valid strategy.
Yeah.
I
look,
actually have been drinking less myself.
I fully
so-
admit, like, I'm not normally like, look, for drinking on the show being such a normal thing, like, the show is normally the one time a week I'm pouring a drink, right?
Same.
I just truly don't drink very much. And like, I admit, between the charity event and then like over the course of the last week, I've been drinking to escape a little bit more. But like, it's just temporary thing. I promise. I'm good.
I know you are. I
Yeah.
know you are. All right, so this is not an alcohol podcast. It is a video game podcast, and tonight we actually
can
have.
be.
I mean, why can't we have both, right?
Yeah.
But we do have quite a few things. Actually, Derek, a surprising amount to talk about tonight, I think.
Given we hit, what was it, like a couple hours before the podcast, and I went, oh fuck, I didn't put together anything resembling a rundown.
But no, here's the thing. We've actually got plenty to talk about.
We do.
And I want to start off as we always do with what we've been playing recently. And Derek, I'm going to let you go first because what you've been playing recently is of great personal interest to both me and Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Derek, without further ado,
well, I'm gonna edge you fuckers because I'm not gonna start with the thing you think I'm gonna talk about. Although I'll get there.
Okay, fine. That's fine. I like to be teased.
So, something I've been playing over the last week is I played Metal Slug Tactics.
Oh, it's so good.
Metal Slug Tactics is really good. First off, it easily has the most effort that's been put into a Metal Slug anything in an extremely long time.
Yes.
And I mean, that helps when you're just like not reusing all of your sprites ever, right? Like you're actually making new assets from the start and writing something. It is a fantastic little indie, like strategy, isometric strategy game. It could not be more clear that the team that made this game played Into the Breach and went, this is really fucking good. What if we just made that? Like, it's
what if we
so
did
heavily inspired by Into the Breach on so many levels, but there are much worse things to draw inspiration from than Into the Breach, which is a magnificent little pixel art like strategy game. One thing I really like about Metal Slug Tactics is usually these types of games are built around cover, right? You want to like move slow, take defensive positions, take cover. But Metal Slug Tactics actually gives you both like a higher defense and more, it's called adrenaline points, but it's basically like the points you stock up to use special abilities based on how far you've traveled in a given turn. So the idea is that it's trying to recreate the frantic nature of Metal Slug being a run and gun, right? Where in the Metal Slug games proper, if you're sitting still, you're dead.
You're fucking toast.
You have to constantly be moving. So Metal Slug rewards you by saying, hey, you can hide behind this piece of cover, but you will actually be better off by moving as many spaces as possible. And it will literally give you it's like your dodge, but it's just defense, right? You can get like 2 or 3 defense points by moving the maximum amount of spaces, and then enemy attacks are doing less damage to you. So that was a thing that was difficult to unlearn, is the idea that like, I'm not hunkering down and making slow progress. I need to scramble constantly. And it's that one mechanical difference completely changes the vibe and flow of Metal Slug Tactics compared to almost anything else like it that I've played. I think it's fantastic.
Derek, let me ask you this. You're playing it on Steam, I assume.
I was. I did end up refunding it on Steam because I ran into a couple of bugs that, like, one of them stopped me right as I defeated a boss, and I was like, this is pissing me off. So, like, I don't know if I'm going to pick it up later when its PC version is fixed or if I'm going to move to the Switch version.
So,
but
Derek, the reason I asked is so I have it on Switch and I've been playing it on Switch, and I will
Gotcha.
say that it's also got some bugs and glitches there.
It's a small development team and a small budget, and it's kind of impressive what they put out regardless. But like,
well, it also definitely
a polish.
It chugs a little bit on the Switch too.
It doesn't on PC at all, but
So, but I like that being said, I agree. Like Metal Slug Tactics is the best use of the Metal Slug property outside of the actual fucking games.
Which there hasn't been a true new one of since.
Which I would please, Derek. You know what I'd
on the DS on the original.
Dude, you know what I'd
DS?
fucking
Jesus.
do? You know what I'd fucking do for a new Metal Slug 8? Like, fucking, oh my god.
They
Derek,
need to think about what they're going to do with this franchise, and I think that like good spin-offs, like they had that Metal Slug Attack, the mobile game that they did like I'm sorry, but like a cheap mobile tower defense game.
No, thank you.
Turned into is not like they need to. Metal Slug has potential, and they need to figure out what they're doing with it. And I think Metal Slug Tactics is a great example of correct moves for that franchise. I still think that yes, it'd be great to see like a Metal Slug 8, but it's really time to figure out what they're going to do with this franchise that isn't just more like 2-hour, very expensive to make side scrollers that only appeal to old people. Sorry, we're old. I'm just curious what they would do.
You know what? That being said, I want CJ to stream a fucking Metal Slug game.
Oh my god, I don't think.
Can you imagine CJ streaming a fucking Metal Slug game, dude?
You know what? That might be the most violent stream I'd ever watch.
Oh, I can't. Well, CJ, I know you're in chat. Please, dude, I will purchase the games for you. It's got to be Metal Slug 2 or Metal Slug
X,
or
dude. Don't
Metal
make him
Slug
play
X.
2.
Or I was gonna say, or my next one was X. Dude, Metal Slug 2 is the best one.
X is better.
Fuck?
X is just 2, but better.
We could get into this, but Derek, I want to know what you're going to talk about next.
You're like, shut the fuck up about Metal Slug. Guess what, guys? We are 14 minutes into the podcast, and it is time to talk about Final Fantasy 14. Yeah. So I mentioned this last show, but I have started Final Fantasy 14.
My boy.
I did briefly play 14 back like right after Heavensward launched. Paid account and everything, right? And I didn't get super far. I spent like a ton of time playing and did not make it like even to the Ifrit fight, which is pretty early in the grand scheme of things.
Dude.
Comparatively, and I haven't played very much 14 this week. Most of what I played was last week and over the weekend. And since like late Sunday, I've done so little video gaming because of, again, like life has sucked and I've been overwhelmed and but I got it at 14 because you and Britt kind of cornered me in DC.
We kind of, you know what? I will admit we kind of bullied you.
I was like on the couch and like flanked by the two of you as you both were leaning in like, hey buddy, have you heard about the award-winning Final Fantasy 14?
So I think Britt was a bit kinder about it. I kind of just looked at you with like that classic, like.
Yeah.
Derek, why are you not playing Final Fantasy 14?
Blink twice if you've been threatened.
But yeah, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go through the effort of like deleting my original account and making a new one so I can take advantage of the free trial, because at least that way I'm not paying for something for a while. And I'll give it a shot. And I did. And the streamlining to A Realm Reborn is immediately obvious because in a fraction of the playtime, I am much farther than I ever was before. I'm like level.
We've run a couple dungeons together, Derek.
We did. I ran one with Britt. I beat Ifrit. I got my Chocobo. I'm level 30. I got my first job. I'm choosing to tank. I want to focus on tanking.
Derek is a tank.
I am a tank. I'm a big scholarly looking Al-Ra boy.
One of the most simple and yet most stressful jobs there is in the entire game.
I can definitely tell that it's a thing that requires much more tactical awareness. then
Yes.
like I don't want to be mean, but like it sure does seem from what I'm reading like DPSs get to like find their correct distance and run the
Yeah.
rotation.
So I will say I will say that like
focused on is just not dying.
yeah, that's not meant to be a shit talk, right? I just mean that
no,
like I'm
dude,
realizing
this-
that the role I signed up for is
Yeah.
one of the like that and healer both require a much more reactionary style.
I think healer is more
So,
about like knowing what situation your like party members are in, whereas like tank is very like what phase of the fight are we in? Like
Yeah.
what's the positioning?
What's
Well-
my
well, also,
relationship
like,
to the boss? Right.
There
yeah.
is one DPS class that is very difficult to play and very situational, and you have to have constant situational awareness, which is why nobody fucking plays it, and that's Monk. Because it is very direction based.
See, the thing is, Monk is the class I was going to try and play when I first played.
See, and this is why I'm a machinist. One, because for three reasons. One, because
I
it uses
want to
fucking
shoot him with
guns.
my gun.
It's got guns. I was a Marine. It's a natural fucking fit. Two, it's got abilities like chainsaw and drill and auto crossbow and air anchor and bioblaster. It's Edgar from Final Fantasy VI,
Yeah,
my favorite
right,
game.
right.
And three, literally all I got to do is stand back, avoid the big orange markers, and do pew pew.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's all I need to worry about. It is a selfish. It's like being a selfish lover, right? Like you're not giving anything to anyone else. You're just you're just absorbing it all. There's nothing that the machinist
None
does
of what you're saying
to aid the
appeals to
party.
me, so
I love it. Love it.
that is of course why I would pick a tank. So I'm playing a paladin. Just because between them and warrior, like this is
Paladin armor sets are so fucking cool.
yeah.
Tanks have some of the best fucking clams in the entire game.
That's great because
Yeah,
I do
hands
want to play.
down.
I do want to play fucking final Fashion Week 14.
Now, Derek,
Um,
have you been to the AeorzeaCollection.com?
No, I haven't. John, I
Oh.
have been playing this game for exactly 8 days.
You can get lost.
And by exactly
Sonny needs
8
to get through
days,
the story before you
I
send
mean
him.
exactly 4 days because I haven't played since Sunday. And I've
Now,
made
the
it.
ultimate. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I'm just like I'm trying to get through. Everyone was like, you got to get through A Realm Reborn so that you get to like the part of the game that's good. So I'm very much focused on getting through the original game's story because
I think
I'm playing
the part
for.
that kills most people is the part between A Realm Reborn and Heaven's Ward. All the
Yes.
Oh
post
shit!
Yes.
the expansions are every 2 years. So in those 2 years between expansions is like what they call like there's usually 5 major patches. Each of them
Yes.
have about 10 to 15 quests. They've trimmed a lot of it when they streamlined Realm Reborn, so it's better. But like, and the latter part of that is good. It sets up Heaven's Ward. It's very like Game of Thrones-esque
Yeah.
drama and some big twists. But like, there is a chunk leading up to there that's very like go here, run back and forth, and that's
Yeah.
the part I think that really.
The hard part is
yeah.
that so much of A Realm Reborn is just walking from place to place and having conversations. And the story itself has been so little to write home about, like as in like almost nothing is happening.
Well, what's crazy, Derek? So I'm actually glad that you're starting off from scratch with Realm Reborn because it is going to be amazing to watch your reactions as to
Well,
just how
that's
this
the thing.
game evolved over the years.
I've been told
Like,
by a couple people like just buy the skip, and it's like no, because I'm playing this game. Everyone told me to get into this game for the story and like for the Final Fantasy fan service, and that's not going to hit if I just skip to the end. So I'm playing for the story, and like I want to get to know these characters that people have grown to love. Like it was cool to run into this mysterious white-haired man and hear Taliesin Jaffe's voice, and then they'd be like, "That's Thancred," and I'm like, "That's a name I've read a lot."
Yeah.
Thancred's a hoe. It's really fun to run into Urianger, who in my head, whenever I've had to read it, has been Urianger. Because because I'm just reading it right on the websites. And then to hear goddamn Gideon Emery buttery smooth coming out of that. And I know they changed the voice actors, so this is meaningless, but anyway, like I'm working through it. It's complicated because I'm playing it because I want to play. Like, I do want to experience the story, and I do want to experience this massive piece of this franchise that I have missed out on. And I love Final Fantasy so much, but also, like I want something I have such, and I've expressed this so many times before, I have such anxiety around playing games online. And I have such deep-seated feelings of loneliness and isolation in my regular life.
I know, pal.
That like, well, because like I've got my wife and that's it. You know, I don't even have kids, you know.
You got us. You got
well,
us.
but I got you guys, but like you don't live nearby, right?
Yeah,
And
but I'm in your fucking heart, Derek.
you
I'm in your
are.
heart.
And again, like you and Britt, I speak to literally every single day, right? On top of like, you know, the group DMs with everybody and the show, and that helps a lot. But like, I don't, like my local friend group here fell apart and I don't have that much. And having something that I can play and connect with several of you on, like, fuck everybody else. Like, this is a game that I knew half this show plays. And I could eventually, you know, whether it's like running dungeons with you all or checking out people's houses or like, you know, going to an RP event with Britt, like it's something that I can socially engage with, but I gotta get there. I can't be level 30. So
here's the thing. I will literally drop whatever I'm playing to go run whatever you need with you. Like seriously.
And Britt has connected me with like her and her husband and a couple of their friends, right, that are likewise. You know, so like I got folks. I know I've got you all. I will do so. I'm gonna be busy for a bit, and I don't know how much progress I'm gonna make in the next couple of weeks, but like it's there.
The great thing about 14, I think, is like there's no FOMO. Like nothing disappears.
Yeah.
I mean, this
isn't like
very
Destiny, which I've heard stories of.
Yeah. Like,
you
there's
know.
some rare seasonal events that come and go. But like at least the items from those you can buy later, and like they're not like the main story is there, which is like good and bad because you're coming in 10 years into the game. The amount of content is overwhelming, but
also
it's great because you can pick and choose what you want to do, and you can do it at your own pace, and there's no punishment for taking a break.
Jeff, I would also argue that this is a really good time to come in because with Dawn Trail, we are just now kicking off the next 10-year story arc.
Yeah.
And so Derek, dude, you're getting in at the ground floor.
I'm worried if I didn't get in now, I'm not gonna I wouldn't ever have the chance to again.
Yeah.
But
that being like so and
it's
like,
also funny because FF14 is a pansexual nightmare. So that's a thing where like
Derek, who's daddy and who's mommy for you right now?
Well, so first off, it's been very funny because me and Britt, obviously, as the most disastrous people any of you know, our DMs are a war zone. I look like I should be in. Both of us have said things that should land us in prison. But like, it's funny because I will text something to John that really should have stayed in the me and Britt DMs, and John will be like, "I wish you hadn't, bud."
I have so much blackmail material on you now. It's
not blackmail material. It's like that thing I posted where it was like, "Hey John, when do I get to fight Guard? I'm trying to spread out some bird monster pussy." And he was like, "I hate you so
Why
much."
are you fucking saying this, dude? Jesus Christ.
I can't wait till I meet Grahatia because I've been told I'm gonna love this boy so much.
Yes.
I hate Grahatia. I don't like Grahatia.
Yeah, well, that's because you're straight.
No, that's because he's a cat boy twink. Like, fuck that.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm trying to do.
Now, I will say that I really...
Watch your words, buddy.
I will say that I really respect Wooklamott's leadership capabilities.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Now, I would say it's hard because I haven't met that many characters, right? So, like... True daddy, I don't know. The only options are fucking Thancred and Urianger, and Urianger hasn't done anything.
Oh, you'll meet more.
But I have a few guesses, but we need to come back to this.
But he does sound like Gideon Emery, and that's worth a lot for me. And as far as who's mommy, like it's Merlvib right now. It's gotta be Merlvib.
Oh, there's so many.
John, I am level 30 in A Realm Reborn. You can't be like, Derek, this fucking character character you will meet in Endwalker is
All I'm
really
saying-
mommy. Like, good. I don't know her, bitch. You know who I do know? I know Merlin. And Merlin and her little wolf cut and her fucking cleavage top and the Admiral mommy vibes is doing it for me.
Really looking forward to you to meeting Tsukiyomi down the road.
I saw the pic and it's fine. You know what it is,
No,
John?
no.
I watch so much anime that exact imagery is just so man, I see it everywhere.
Whatever.
I see it everywhere.
I'm just happy that so like all jokes aside, for all the teasing that Derek gives me about constantly wanting to talk about Final Fantasy, Derek is also a Final Fantasy fucking
I'm a huge Final
diehard.
Fantasy nerd. In fact, one of the things that got me the thing that finally fully tipped me over the edge, because you both got me to like 98% of the way there, and then Britt was like, there's a Gunblade class and it's one of the tanks, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm gonna aim towards Gunbreaker.
One of the classes is literally just Squall from Final Fantasy VIII.
See, I'm gonna go Dark Knight when I unlock it, because I like the idea of playing Dark Knight more than playing Paladin. But
dude,
in the
Dark
end,
Knight,
I'm gonna go Gunbreaker. I'm gonna go
Dark
Gunbreaker.
Knight has. I mean, obviously, you're gonna go Gunbreaker.
Yeah,
like, and you're gonna fucking love it. But so like there have been, as a lifelong Final Fantasy fan, it's my favorite franchise. If you couldn't fucking like look behind me, if you're in the chat and see, like I have kind of a thing for Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 14 is the dream of having a Final Fantasy game that never fucking ends. And there are some of the highest highs. And Jeff, back me up here, because you're big on story. Final Fantasy 14 has some of the greatest Final Fantasy story beats in the entire history of the franchise, and it's not even close.
Yeah, it's like, and I keep saying it. I hope the mobile announcement's interesting, but I just hope they find a way.
So I get paired up in a dungeon with anybody on mobile.
Yeah, no.
The servers are going to be up for a long time, but at the end of the day, I hope they find a way to immortalize this story somehow, because it really is one of the best narratives ever told, at least in a Final Fantasy game. And it would suck if down the road you just like straight up can't play it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, Derek, I am thrilled to have you as a fellow traveler in Eorzea.
Yeah. So we will continue to get updates as I cross major thresholds and meet. I will try to constantly bring updates as I do, but like again, like we've got a review code coming in that I'm likely to be kind of busy with, and like my life is a little busier than I'd like it to be right now, so I don't know how much more 14 updates there's going to be for a couple of weeks, like through the holidays, but we'll
like
see.
Jeff said, dude, Final Fantasy 14 is probably the most casual friendly MMO in existence.
Yeah.
So there's no FOMO here.
You and Britt have both like nailed into my head. The community's great. Like I don't have to worry about playing with randos, which is nice.
No, yeah, it's fantastic.
So.
I'll be quick. I also have been playing Final Fantasy 14. I've been doing the 7.1. Of course I have. I've been playing the 7.1 Crossroads update. Jeff, it's really good. When you, I don't know if you've dipped your toe into it yet, but 7.1 is really good. The new 24-man is really, really fucking good. Echoes of Vanadiel. It's all based on it's all taken straight from Final Fantasy 11, which is their first online game. So if you played Final Fantasy 11, you're gonna have a lot of nostalgia there. Be interesting to see where the story goes from here. Aside from that, I have been so now that I got Dragon Quest 3 out of the way, fantastic fucking game. I have been playing Mario and Luigi Brothership. And it's delightful, right? Like it's a fucking Mario and Luigi game. You know, it's a cute romp with Mario and Luigi. It's a fun little RPG. You know, if you like Mario and Luigi games, you're gonna fucking like Brothership. Like I don't know what else to say about that one, you know? I want to talk about PS Portal, but we're gonna wait for our first top. Yeah. Let's. I'm gonna keep my powder dry on that one because there's a larger conversation to be had there. Jeff, what are you playing? Or I'm sorry, what are you trying to play?
Yeah, so I'll lead into that one because I know what you're getting at there. I have actually managed to play a few games, so I also played Final Fantasy 14. I started Dawn Trail in June or July. I just finished like a couple weeks ago.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
I loved it. I loved it. I know some people didn't.
I loved it.
But
I think maybe I haven't read any discourse. I don't know if there's complaints. I know it wasn't quite as well received. The highs aren't as high because it's not the conclusion. It's not the Infinity War or Endgame of the saga, right? Like it's kind of back to basics, but I like that it's mostly focused on just helping people and bringing people together. It feels very down to earth. I enjoyed all the new characters. Wuklamad is awesome. Kona is her brother is awesome. Like all the new characters are great.
Jeff, can I jump in and ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
I want to get your.
Do you also want to kiss Wuklamad?
So, well, I mean, I don't want to kiss Wuklamad. I respect her leadership capabilities. But Jeff, I know that. So you mentioned that Dawn Trail hasn't been quite as well received as Endwalker was. Do you think that's because? Do you think this is what I think, but I want to see what you think. Do you think a large part of that is because simply coming off the high of ending a 10-year story arc with all those epic moments like that was always going to be a tough thing to follow up when you're kicking something new off?
Yeah, and it's like especially hard with this series because like you went like the Heaven's Ward, Shadow, Stormblood, like, and then you went Shadowbringers and Endwalker. Like when you keep topping yourself, inevitably you just can't like. You can't constantly top yourself, right? It's the same with seasons of TV shows. There's going to be ups and downs. Like movies are going to have stretches. Like that's just the flow of an ongoing narrative, right? It all can't be, and it doesn't mean it's not like like quality wise. Just those big moments hit because they're like few and far between, and they're not constant. So yeah, no, I really liked it. I liked a lot of things. I didn't see. The second half of the game is very different to the first half, and I could see that rubbing people the wrong way. I liked it.
It seems like most of what I've heard is that most people don't like the switch up, the twist.
Yeah,
which I'm aware of because John. So
yeah, I didn't mind it. I still I thought both halves were good and interesting. I think the second half.
Me too.
We won't. I think it's going to be interesting to see where the story goes because I think there's some stuff to dig into more there. But other than that, I started and finished Silent Hill 2 remake.
Which fucking good, Jeff. So good.
You guys, I'm not big on the action games, the scary, but like I love the classic Resident Evils. I love the old Silent Hills. Like this is my jam. I played the original when it came out. So
the remake of Jeff, the remake, just to like the remake of Resident Evil is one of your favorite games, right? Like you consider that a perfect game.
The GameCube version, and then like 2 and 3 rule. So Silent Hill, it's like exact, and like I no disrespect to the new Resident Evils, but like Silent Hill is what I like that like. Kind of hallway driven, like slower monsters, creepy atmosphere versus the action stuff. And I played the original Silent Hill 2. I played it when it came out. I don't remember a thing, so it was like playing it for the first time.
That's where I was at. Is I remembered so little about the original.
For some reason, the only thing I vividly remembered is the fucking garbage chute in the apartment. I don't know
I'm talking about dropping the juice cans down there.
I got there and I looked at this garbage chute. I'm like, there's something here.
It's like I gotta find that 6-pack of juice to drop down there.
But yeah, it was just all around really great.
The prison.
Oh
dude,
the fucking spider. God,
dude, Toluca Prison, man. Like, boy, oh boy.
That's the most stressed I've been playing, most afraid I've been playing a video game since
I was
Alien
stressed
Isolation.
coming out of the hospital, and then I got to the prison.
Jeff, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. When I tell you that I got a call from Derek, and he was like, "I don't know if I can do this, John." Like, he's like, "I don't know if I can do this." Like, he was like,
"This is coming off me." Or no, this is before Abstract Daddy. Never mind.
And the way they fucking anyway, Jeff, keep going.
No, that's okay. Yeah, like all the locations are really good. The game felt surprisingly like maybe I was younger when I played it. I always remember it being very abstract, and it is to an extent. But I think by the time I wrapped the credits, even going along, I was able to put the pieces together a little bit more. Like obviously, a lot of it's open to interpretation. But I thought the voice acting was really, really good. I thought the script was really good. My understanding is they reworked a lot of that stuff. But I was really impressed with all that. It really sold it well. My only issue is like I feel like and I don't know if this was expanded in the remake. I feel like some parts were just a little long. Like I would have liked to have a break between the regular and the other worlds, especially when you do the hospital. I was in there for 3 fucking hours, and then I got to the other world hospital. I'm like, I can't. I have to come back to this. I would have liked a little bit more time in the town itself, but like I understand that's the structure of the game, and it is a remake. But very minor quibble. Like everything was really well done. The end stretch of the game is just absolute like crazy good. The last few sections, I got the Leave ending, which I think is the one of the more common and considered the good ending. I really liked it. I thought it was a satisfying ending. Yeah, no.
So Jeff, I
Yeah.
actually consider, so I got the in water ending.
Same.
And I actually consider
Okay.
that to be the canon ending. I think, and so there's, by the way, there's somebody in chat.
In Water
I
is
think
in the original, and Leave is a new ending.
Yeah.
For the remake, correct? Yeah.
No. Leave was in the original as well. There is a new
Are you sure?
ending. A positive. There is a new ending. There are actually two new endings in Silent Hill 2
I didn't
remake.
know that.
One of them is a joke ending. The
Good.
other one, I'm not sure what it is. But no, Leave was absolutely in the original game. We got somebody in chat. Actually, we got a first timer in chat. I think I'm about to get to the prison. This is my first game of the series. Buddy boy, you are in for a fucking time at Toluca Prison. I think that Silent Hill 2 remake,
Yeah,
like
that's Zach Davis. Yeah.
that is Zach Davis. Oh shit. Zach, what's up? I think that Silent Hill 2 remake, and we'll get into this later. The fact that this was not nominated for Game of the Year is a fucking like. Granted, I don't really give a shit what's nominated for Game of the Year. Like, I think they,
We'll keep that powder dry too. But
like at the same time, like what I will say, and Jeff, like you tell me, and Derek, feel free to chime in here too. What this game did for me, aside from like, there's no reason to go back and play the original now. There's literally no reason to do that.
I don't know about that, but
I would.
I think for most people that's probably true, but
for a first timer, I'd be like, don't go back and play the original.
No.
Like play
But
this.
I think the originals, especially when they're that good and that important, are still important for like
it's an important piece of gaming history.
Yeah, right.
Like,
and like it's good to go back and play things that are older, like to understand the context of where they come from. But,
right. Well, I
get
would
what you
never
were
say
saying that like if I was going to tell like a random friend of mine to play Silent Hill 2, I would tell them to play the remake.
Right. But what this did for me, and Jeff, so you you tell me what you think, but this game made me like James so much more as a character. I felt like he was more.
Well, it softened him up.
He was more relatable. His motivate, he's not like, he didn't make choices that I would have made personally. But there's far more context behind the choices that James makes in the game. And
he comes across as a more depressive character rather than an asshole.
Yeah.
When he's more sympathetic as well.
He felt like he had, and again, I don't remember the original game very well. My recollection there is he was kind of just a blank slate. Like there wasn't a lot to him, and I definitely felt the depth this time around in the character.
Yeah.
And again, the performance was really good too. Although it is funny that like the concept of the game is still kind of funny. Like, dude walks into a town looking for his wife and is like pretty nonchalant about just like murdering 300 monsters.
Yeah.
But
I think that works for like the dreamlike atmosphere of the entire game, right? Like, and the cutscene direction's so good at capturing that from the beginning. Is like it feels like a dreamscape, and even down to like people don't totally know. And people
what's
like
real
flitting in and out of the narrative, and it's. Bloober Team is a development team that I have had no faith in for a long time, and they did a really good job, and I have to give it to them. And I really am grateful that they took the criticism people have had for them, and really grew from that, because the Silent Hill 2 remake is magnificent.
The last thing I want to mention is another thing that stood out to me that I could have done without is like the Last of Us ladder part where you've got the little carts all around that you have to wheel to the correct
Oh my
spot.
god, fuck that shit.
Like the rest of the game is so immersive and it's such a weird gamey little gimmick, like especially because you have holes like in the wall at the bottom in the hallways that you can crawl under. So I don't know why they couldn't just have like pre-existing counters or something that you could but like I'm assuming that wasn't in the original. It just felt like it was there.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
That was AAA
very
remake
video
syndrome,
gamey,
but
at least there was no like Witcher vision or anything like that. So I'll give them a pass.
Yeah.
All right, and then Well, John, I assumed you wanted me to talk about this. So
well, let's we could
Yeah.
we could just make this our first topic, right?
Okay, yeah.
It's not really the first topic; it's the last game. But
Yeah, but either way, one thing
It's
I do
both,
want to say
yeah.
though, Derek, is I should have talked about homeless simulator.
no, you shouldn't have. No, you
should
shouldn't
have absolutely talked about homeless simulator. But and we can talk about that offline. Jeff, please.
Yeah, so a game came out this week called Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Everyone has been asking me all year, like, oh, it's out soon, are you excited? And I've told them the same thing. No, because to illustrate, so the game launched poorly, the servers are a disaster, the game doesn't work. I genuinely believe this might be the worst game launch in history. I don't think it will go down
Oh
with that
wow!
reputation, because it's a niche genre, because it doesn't have 20 million people buying it like Cyberpunk. And so even though there's articles being written about it, I just don't think it will persist in the conversation the way that game did. But the level to which it is deeply fundamentally broken, I think it far exceeds the state of any other game I can recall. And there's so many problems to it, and like I know a lot of people don't care, but like to really hammer home how bad this launch is, I have to go back to 2020. And 2020 launched with a lot of problems.
That's where all problems really start.
Yeah. 2020 launched in a really bad state too. The difference there is that it at least worked. Like from a surface level, it worked. You could launch the game and use it. Reviewers had access to they got review codes in advance of release, so they played a different game. And through no fault of their own, reviewers just typically aren't hardcore flight sim players. So they checked it out. They checked out the different modes, and they kind of toured the world and did the basic stuff. But a lot of the stuff that was broken was a little bit deeper, and I just don't think they were able to recognize it. So it scored very well, and I honestly think they got a bit of a break there. But anyways, so the way the game works is I would call it a blank canvas. So Microsoft Flight Simulator, it's a stock that's meant to be built on by the community, and this is endorsed and supported by Microsoft. They worked on probably 15 or 20 partners on the new one. So they provide the game, but the airports in the game are pretty basic, the stock airports. The airplanes are very basic. They aren't super detailed in terms of the systems in the simulation. So the way that this whole ecosystem, the whole community around this works is all of the airports and planes are developed by third-party developers. So these are like companies of people, maybe 5 people, 1 person, 10 people, not affiliated with Microsoft in any way. Some of them are purchasable in-game from the marketplace as officially supported add-ons. A lot of them are just purchased outside from like mod sites. But they're all endorsed. They're not like a shady thing or anything like that. And so Microsoft promised a 10-year life cycle for 2020, and then they came out and announced 2024. And as you can expect, people invest a lot of money into this thing. Like I personally have $600 in hardware. I've got custom controllers and all that stuff. I also have probably close to $1,000 of add-ons purchased. And what happened when they announced 2024 is they didn't give any details on it. And the marketplace basically shut down. Like some developers actually went under because everyone stopped buying products for 2020 because they were worried they wouldn't work in 2024 and they didn't want to sink more money into it. And Microsoft came out and said, don't worry, all of your add-ons, that their exact quote was virtually all add-ons will just work in 2024.
I don't like virtually. I don't like that.
Yeah. But yeah, so and they're like, yeah, there'll be edge cases. So the assumption there is like because people have bought enhanced versions of airports that are very, very detailed, very accurate to real life. Same thing with the airplanes. So, moving on to 2024, yes, first off, the big problem is that the servers didn't work. So the original 2020 streamed the scenery, it streamed the world textures, the ground textures, but the rest of it was a traditional game. I don't think anyone understands the extent to which 2024 is streaming content. The airplanes themselves are streamed. There is no airplane installed on your computer, which is why we have videos of people flying around like a floating person in the sky because the servers are down and it can't load the plane. Those plane textures don't exist on your computer. They're all streamed. The control profiles, your key bindings, are stored on the server. You can't save that control configuration locally. And again, this is a big deal when people have, like some people have at-home cockpits with 300 switches. You can imagine the amount of key bindings they have. And And you can't import these from 2020 either, so it's just a mess. But anyway, so the servers are down. The game doesn't load. The content can't stream. It can't load any of the scenery. Like the game functionally doesn't work.
So
Yeah.
Jeff, just to put an exclamation mark on what you're saying here, I decided to just look up a random review of the game, right? Random review. And it says two things. One, it says this is perhaps the worst game launch of the modern era. Mm-hmm. And two, we look forward to reviewing Flight Simulator 2024, and we'll do so as soon as it's in a playable state. We simply have no idea when that will be.
Wow. That's a rough set of words, bud.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, so like and it still doesn't work. We're 3 days into launch, and I'm not like going all rage. I'm not going to go review bomb it. Like, I feel for the dev team who worked really hard on this, but at the same time, it's not an indie studio. This is Microsoft. It's Microsoft Flight Simulator. They just bought a company for $70 billion. Like, there's no excuse for them to launch a game in this state, and people saw it coming. Like the background here, they had a tech alpha. They had an alpha version of the game just a few weeks ago, no beta. The alpha was very rough. Developers, like all the developers I just mentioned who build all these add-ons, had no access to the SDK to test their add-ins or update them or anything like that. Microsoft didn't give them access. And yeah, so sure enough, the servers don't work. Most of the game modes don't work. A lot of people can't even load the game. Some people can't even install the game. In fact, for a brief time, it took down Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 because there seems to be some server overlap. So even that game wasn't working for a few hours.
So Jeff, I have a question for you, if you don't mind. This is a game that this is a franchise that first launched in the 80s, right? Yep. It's had over a dozen entries, right?
In the 80s, that can't be right.
Yeah, it is. What fucking happened here, Jeff? How did it launch in the state?
It's complicated. Like it's a very deep simulation, right? There's hundreds of airplanes, and then there's all the systems. Are like, it's understandable. There's always going to be bugs. But how it got this, like, it seems like it wasn't ready. It seems rushed. And to be honest, like a lot of people felt that it wasn't necessary. So that the main justification for making this game, because it's like, why not just keep building on 2020? They put so much work into that over the last 4 years. All these add-ons are there. And the issue is that 2020 was built on code from Flight Sim X, which is a 2006 game. So it was basically only using single core from your CPU. There was no multi-threading really. Performance was really bad. And that's understandable. So they basically said to solve all these technical problems, we have to make a new one. But they promised all this stuff. And I think all the articles this week are about the server issues. And like, I think a lot of people see that and like, oh, it's a big game launch. Servers, we've heard this before, right? Like, this happens all the time. But when the servers
this is every big online game, like
when the servers stabilize and come back up, I mentioned the add-on stuff because right now Microsoft has announced they unexpectedly have to go through and manually validate 13,000 add-ons to make sure they work, and that was not planned because they were expected to work. On top of that, the biggest add-on developer in the community, which is like they make millions of dollars. They sell a lot of. They make the Boeing 737 and the Airbus A320 for the game. That's PMDG. They are like half the people playing this game are using their planes. They came out today with a statement that the API changes to 2024 mean they may not ever be able to port their planes to 2024, which is like, I just can't state. I can't state how bad this would be. It'd be like, to compare it to like traditional games, it'd be like if Overwatch was built around community created heroes, and the top 3 most popular heroes in Overwatch 1, they announced Overwatch 2, and you couldn't play any of those in the second game. Like, I don't know how else to compare it, but it's just like, it's unimaginable that it could be in this state. So anyways, the in-game marketplace is delayed. Like, people don't even have access to their purchases.
That's fucking insane to me, dude.
Yeah. So like, even aside from this, but like even going beyond that, the controls don't work. Key bindings don't work. Your control profiles don't save. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what like camera or like control acceleration is, like on a controller.
Yeah.
There is acceleration applied to the mouse, and you can't disable it.
I fucking hate mouse acceleration, dude.
Yeah, and you can't disable it. So you use the mouse to look around your cockpit. So you try to like look to the right, and it spins around 360 because it accelerates so much. Like, just this alone is unusable. Like, how? And this isn't. We have known
not to do mouse acceleration for so long at this point. Oh my
So
god.
I mean, like the thing here is Microsoft, like they're very in tune with the community. I want to give them credit. Like they do a lot of developer streams. They're very in touch, and that's why this is so surprising because they know who their core audience is, and it's these hardcore sim nerds who have cockpits in their basement, and they talk about them. Like Microsoft attended Flight Sim Expo, which is basically PAX for sim nerds. They know this is here, and like to get all the basic stuff wrong to the point where the controls don't even work properly. Like even like all the peripherals everyone uses, the bindings are messed up. The axes are reversed, so like throttle that should go up is like backwards for some reason in the game. It's like none of this has been QA tested. I genuinely don't know. I don't want to say they didn't test it because I'm sure they did, but I don't know.
Yeah,
what
QA
went
said
wrong.
something.
Well, and
they just weren't
and-
given time to do anything about
I
it.
know we have I know we have a few new people in chat. I just want to point out that Jeff is one of those guys with the cockpit controls. He knows what the fuck he's talking about. And if Jeff tells me that Microsoft Flight Simulator is borked, then I know it's fucking borked. And some of the shit that I'm like Jeff, I looked at some pictures of the fucking glitches in this game. Holy shit, dude!
Some of it I don't understand. There's parts where it literally
Like-
looks like Minecraft, and I'm like, what's even happening here?
Like Derek, we're talking like FIFA level.
I've seen some of
just
the screenshots that
abysmal
Jeff
fucking,
posted.
Like
That super hot joke, I was once again very mad when you're funny on purpose. But like, yeah, it's wild to see.
And then there's stuff like, so one of the new features in this game was called Seasons. So in the old game, it's based on Bing imagery, but like basically if you're flying over like Kentucky and in the Bing imagery was taken in the summer, all the grass is green, all the trees are green, and it looks like that all year round. So with Seasons 24, they've muted the colors. So like in winter, the grass will be brown, the trees will have no leaves, they'll be dead. It just increases the immersion. And just an example of like the state the game launched in, it looks like all they did was apply a color grading. So like in November things get browner and in July they get greener, but it applies to the buildings as well. So
Everyone
like
knows
in
the
the dead
buildings
of, in
get
the dead
brown
of
in the
winter,
fall.
you go to downtown Louisville in the dead of winter, everything's just a shit brown, like all the buildings. Instead of like whatever the glass should look like.
Downtown Louisville is the most concrete gray an area can possibly be. Like,
Yeah, I didn't actually check it out, but I'm assuming they're all the same. So
yeah.
like yeah, I imagine the server stuff will get sorted over the coming weeks, but like, and that this is not even touching on the fact like lots of planes just don't work. They're dropping out of the sky because the power's just cutting out to
That's
them.
just like the real fucking planes right now.
Yeah, yeah, I guess it really is realistic. I actually think we're talking like 6 months to a year before this is even really in any. I hope I'm wrong. Before it's in any kind of playable state. Like Cyberpunk was glitch like, but you could at least play that game at launch. This game you can't play. I don't know how else to say it. It's too bad, and it's a big bummer. Personally, I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm sorry for you too, man, because I know that you love I know that you love Flight Simulator. Like, I'm sure they'll fix it eventually. I just wonder if they'll fix it in time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I saw that 60% of the player base is already evaporated. And so I like, you know, I look, this team didn't want to put out a bad game. So I'm sure Jason Schreier will write a book about it in 10 years about what the fuck happened here. And we'll all be a little wiser. Jeff, is there anything you want to talk about before we launch into our two big topics here?
Yeah, let's do some topics.
Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about the PS Portal and the future of handhelds.
It's funny because it started with this PS Portal like news and update, but we kind of realized like there's a lot of handheld related stuff that's worth talking about.
There really is.
It could end up
is.
being the rest of the show, frankly.
So I'm going to try to make it not be, but even if it like, but we'll
let's start with the PS Portal news is what spurred this on. So why don't you start with that?
Okay. So the PlayStation Portal, and just out of fucking nowhere on a Tuesday night, gets an update. Sony says, "Hey, we have now added a feature to where you can cloud stream games, select games. It's a beta from your PlayStation Portal. Now, there are some caveats there, right? So it is limited to 120 games on PS Plus right now, right? You cannot stream from the cloud like PS3 games. There's no voice chat functionality. This is a beta." Right. That being said, it gave me a reason to fire up my PS Portal. And full caveat here, I'm somebody who uses a wired, I use an Ethernet connection to my PlayStation 5, and we have high-speed internet. So, it works flawlessly. It's really fucking good. The games I played Final Fantasy VII Remake. Not Rebirth. Want to stress, I played the first one, Remake. 1080p, 60 frames a second. I didn't see 1 ounce of chug. I didn't see. There's no slowdown whatsoever. I played The Last of Us Part 1, the remake. 1080p, 60 frames a second, no problems. I played a few PS1 classics, no problems. Derek, it fucking works. Like it works really well. It actually got me a little angry because this is a feature that I think should have been available on the PlayStation Portal from fucking Jump Street.
Well, we talked for a long time that like the PlayStation
yeah.
Portal seemed like a device in search of a purpose, right?
Yes.
Could
Yes.
you not like stream PS Now on your PS5 and then just connect to your PS5 with the portal? Did that not work?
I never tried it, but I mean,
Okay.
but like so.
It probably wouldn't have been a good experience because then
No.
you're streaming from the cloud to your PS5, and then there's the latency to your portal.
Up until now, the PlayStation Portal has been useful for people who want to play their PlayStation games like in bed in their house, right? Because all it does is streams your games. That's
in the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, I've done it. But this
Derek, when
is
John's running a dungeon with you, make sure you know where he is.
Oh, half the time when I'm playing games with Derek, I'm not wearing any pants. He just doesn't even know it.
You're not bothering me. I don't give a shit.
But this is a legit game changer for the PlayStation Portal. Like legit. It is Sony, so this comes with a few caveats, right? Like I don't think they cannot keep this limited to PlayStation Plus games, in my opinion. They just can't. They're going to have to expand this to be able to play every game that you have purchased on that, on your PlayStation account, right? What this does do is, it obviously it eliminates the need for a physical PlayStation 5 in your home if you're playing one of those 100 training games on PlayStation Plus. I really do feel like PlayStation cannot afford to limit it to that. I understand that this is a beta. I am going to wait and see just how wide a net Sony casts with this. I think it's fucking great. They need to go all the way with it. If they don't expand this to be able to play your entire library from the cloud, honestly, I won't see the fucking point of it. I just won't. It would be the most Sony thing to do, but
that's why they're gonna do it.
I'm hoping they don't. But here's the other side of this, and I think and this is kind of what got us talking about topics tonight, right? Because there's a bigger thing happening here, and that is the expansion of handhelds. We've seen it with not just the Switch, but with also the multitude of handheld PCs that are available on the market right now, from the Steam Deck to the Lenovo Go, I think it's called,
the ROG Ally.
The ROG Ally.
Yeah, the Logitech G Cloud trying to
the
do
Logitech
its
G
thing for a
Cloud,
bit.
yeah.
Microsoft is looking at getting into.
Well, no, they're not just looking at it; they're making their own handheld.
Sure.
But that's years off. Like they've already said, that's years off.
And of course, nobody's touching the Switch right now, right? Like it's
nobody.
It's on its way to potentially bypass the PS2 as the biggest.
I actually think
device
it will.
of all time.
I think it will. And if it doesn't, it'll get close. So, and of course, and Nintendo, to no one's surprise, is not abandoning the hybrid format. So, it seems to me that companies like Sony and Microsoft are going, well, fuck, maybe there really is something to this handheld thing. I know Sony dipped their toe in the water with the PSP, which was a huge success, and they totally fucking biffed it with the Vita. And so I am wondering. There's tons of handsome people here. There's at least 3 handsome people here right here on this podcast. Ashdown Makes in chat says, I've been baited here by the promise of handsome people. We're right here. Everybody get.
I hate when you get that ego boost. I think we need to knock you down a few pegs, actually.
So Derek, here's the thing. I'm handsome and I'm aware of it, and you're aware of it.
Yeah, but
yeah, it sucks for you maybe
Shit,
to have
bud.
to admit that, but just saying, dude, like I'm handsome and muscular. It's the fucking dude. It's the cross I was born to bear. I'm not happy about it.
Fuck up.
I'm not happy about it, Derek. Like,
Yes,
like,
you
dude,
are, you dick.
No, I have to fucking wake up with this shit every day. I have to deal with this shit every day, Derek. I have to fucking deal with this shit fucking constantly. People staring at me, being like, "God damn!" Like, I know he's older, but he's got a little salt in the pepper. But god damn, this guy. There's just something smoldering about him. Like, I deal with it
I'm gonna
fucking
remove
on the
him from the
daily. At any rate, I wanted to ask you guys, in regards to the handheld market, it seems like these things are fucking popping up everywhere. Where do we go from here? We know, like, obviously the PlayStation 6 is not going to be a fucking hybrid console.
No.
But I can absolutely see companies like PlayStation and Xbox launching their next consoles with a handheld alternative launching alongside them.
I want to start with the Xbox because I think that kind of leads into like what my thoughts are on it. So, yeah, like Phil Spencer, I think he was given an interview with Bloomberg. Like there was a whole bunch of articles, there's a bunch of topics that they covered, and yeah, one was like, we're working on a handheld. It's a couple years away, but we're doing it. We're seriously looking into it. But like at the same time, I don't know if the discourse reached where you guys are. They launched this new ad campaign. This is an Xbox, which like, I'm sorry, there was a lot of jokes about
your phone, an Xbox. Your TV, an Xbox.
It's an Xbox.
That's cereal bowl. That's an Xbox.
The premise of like the concept of this makes sense and is good and is in line with the direction they've been going for the last 10 years. But the execution was just so fucking funny to me, especially because like on basically the day they announced that they're like working on a handheld, they come out with an ad that has a ROG Ally like dead center in it and like this is an Xbox. So I'm like, what's
the point?
And I know, like, we all know they don't care about hardware, right? Like, they care, but they don't care. We know, like, for almost 10 years now, like, they want you to play their games. They don't care where you are, whether it's on your computer, on a PlayStation, and they want you to subscribe to Game Pass. Like, we know that. But and I was surprised. I always talk about how I'm constantly wrong. The day before this, I was just in a Discord server being like, they're not fucking doing a handheld. They're not investing in R&D into new hardware. Like, they're going to keep making the basic box to sell Game Pass, and that's it. And then sure enough. I guess they're doing it. But my question is like, and this kind of, I think, shapes my direction of thoughts is, okay, there's a Portal, and then there's a Microsoft handheld, but like, this is different when you look back to the Vita, right? Like the Vita, I think did okay, but obviously it didn't do well enough to really be supported long term. But that was like the way to play Sony games on a handheld. You had to get a Vita. In a day where you can buy a Steam Deck, and if you're okay with waiting like 18 months, you can play basically every Sony game and every Microsoft game that comes out now on a Steam Deck. What's the value proposition for buying a handheld that's probably priced the same and only plays half of those games? Well, you know what I mean? Or like is missing a large part of that library. I think Microsoft's angle could be like, sure, you have Microsoft games on Steam Deck, you don't have Game Pass on Steam Deck.
So I think the big thing with PlayStation, all of these platforms, is what is your existing buy-in to the platform backend? Right? The Steam Deck is a significantly better value proposition if you've already got a Steam library.
Yes.
Right? Someone like me,
or if you have no library, like if you're
or if you're coming in fresh, it's a pretty good call.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I do think that like the Steam Deck is still a little on the fiddly side in terms of like dealing with settings and things like that. It's like it's still playing PC games on a PC device. Like it's not quite as straightforward as many people are used to. Just like put in game, press play, it go. But comparatively, if somebody owns a bunch of stuff on PlayStation's store and they have the ability to stream it or play it like locally on a handheld, that's selling. I mean, that's not really expanding necessarily, but that is selling more hardware.
It is.
And locking people further into your ecosystem if they've already got buy-in. But like, I recognize what I'm saying is that's not new customer oriented, right? That's trying to keep people, keep an iron grip on the people who are already there. So like Sony, I think is absolutely in the worst position of,
I agree.
Compared to like Steam, Nintendo, Xbox, like Nintendo is going Nintendo's been killing it with the Switch. It doesn't matter how old and crusty and anemic the hardware is.
Yep.
They're killing it. And the Switch 2 is going to kill it.
The Switch 2 is going to be weaker than the PS5, not the Pro, but the PS5 and the Series X, and it's still going to outsell them both.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
Steam Deck is provably like a huge success because of, game availability, because of smart support and existing buy-in with the like growing PC crowd. Because the thing is, that goes both ways, right? People who buy a Steam Deck and start buying games for Steam now own these games on PC if they choose to get into that realm.
So here's Jeff, go ahead and then I'll go.
I was gonna say, like, I agree, but then and maybe that's what Sony wants. But looking back on Microsoft, that doesn't line up with the direction they're going.
Microsoft's playing a totally different game for sure.
Because I feel like they've said we've tapped out on Xbox. We're not giving up on Xbox, but like this isn't growing, right? Like Xbox One, I think, had 56 million units sold by the end of its life.
Yeah.
Series is at like 28 or 29.
It's been going down.
It's each generation, like Series, unless something changes, is going to sell significantly less than the Xbox One. But that's fine, right? Because they've got their games on PC, they've got Windows. Like, as it doesn't really impact their ecosystem. But like, if they're looking at a handheld strictly as like hardware for people already in the ecosystem, it doesn't make sense from there. I think they're looking at it like we need to reach people who aren't buying an Xbox.
See, that's where Xbox, I agree, is actually like the opposite of Sony, where Xbox is trying to meet new people who are not already bought in. Yeah. But I think that in doing so, they need to continue making sure, like as Zach brings up in chat, it's like, people who already are in the Xbox ecosystem and have spent money on Xbox Live and the Xbox like store and own games digitally are going to want to continue being able to play those games digitally.
But here's the thing.
Well, and Xbox is in a great spot because when you talk about an existing library, Sony, you're only going back to PS4 because nothing else is backwards compatible and it's not going to be on the portable. Xbox, they've got your library going back to 360, your OG Xbox games with back compat running on Xbox. If they can get that into the handheld and you can play like the original Splinter Cell at like 1080p, like on your handheld,
I'm gonna pour a little cold water on all of this. Unfortunately,
we know it's going to be a cloud streaming device. I know.
Yeah,
I know that chat. So I know that Zach in chat said, I want a true portable Xbox with my library on it natively. I'd love that for you. I'd love it for all other Xbox gamers. That's not what's going to happen. And it is the core weakness with all of these handheld PCs, like the Steam Deck, like the ROG Ally, and it's this. Technology is progressing at such a rate to where games are coming out now that are simply not playable on the Steam Deck. AAA games.
It's not that many though, man.
Well, hold on. No, but they're becoming more frequent. Two really good examples are Final Fantasy 16 and Silent Hill 2.
Final Fantasy 16 is, but here's the thing: both of those are games that are really rough on PC to begin with.
But hold on. There are other games that are simply that run well on PC. They run well on other consoles, but they simply don't run well on the Steam Deck. You're trading, like there are games right now that you can play on your PC at 4K 60 frames a second, no problem, that you will have trouble running at 40 frames a second on your Steam Deck. And I think that, and I don't think for PC gamers that might be fine. I think for console gamers, the whole reason you buy a PlayStation or an Xbox is to play games at the absolute highest quality you can on a console. And I simply don't see, Derek, for example, somebody choosing to play, let's say Horizon Zero Dawn 3, right? Like I'm just making up a game that doesn't even exist. But on PlayStation 6, nobody is going to play a Horizon Zero Dawn 3 on a handheld at 30 frames a second at 1080p when they could do it on their PlayStation 6 at 4.6 or at 4K and 120 frames a second at that point, right?
Maybe.
Like the technology is like the Steam Deck is already falling behind.
Yeah, but it's also still doing gangbusters. Like
it is, but like also as somebody who
and there will be a Steam Deck too. You know what I mean?
But there will, but that's not for years now. And I try to play Visions of Mana on the Steam Deck, right? Like I played it on PC. It was fucking beautiful, wonderful. It doesn't run well on the Steam Deck.
Oh, that's a
at
handheld.
all.
That's a handheld. Like here's
right.
the thing. That is
But-
ultimately like the trade-off you make with a handheld is you have two routes if you're making a handheld. You can either be affordable and lean on streaming, right? Which is what like the Logitech G Cloud did and didn't work out well. It's what the PlayStation Portal did and is continuing to do because it just does not have the beef to actually run games natively. It is what you're suggesting you believe an Xbox handheld would be, right? Is something that relies heavily on streaming in order to remain affordable and look good and, you know,
I think
provide
that's
that
all it's going to
experience.
be. It's going to be a cloud device. Like,
Sure.
like you know,
But
because Sony dabbled with the, like, you know, what killed the Vita was having first party games available on the Vita, but not available on the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 3 and vice
that's
versa.
the problem
Like,
that Switch solved, where it's like when you develop the same games for both, you don't have to split your development pipelines, right? You don't have a mobile team. You don't have to take someone off a game for 3 years to make a mobile. It's the same reason Sony's not doing anything with PSVR, because they can't fucking afford to take like Naughty Dog and put them on a PSVR 2 title for 5 years.
Right.
Um,
But ultimately, here's the thing. Every one of these streaming oriented handhelds, every single one has failed to light the world on fire. If they even do okay at all. Like, I don't know how the Portal is done, but I'm telling you, it ain't blowing up the sales charts.
which one is it?
The PlayStation Portal.
I mean, it's doing pretty well, dude. Like it's
Yeah.
it's actually doing much better than Sony anticipated.
that doesn't mean
that doesn't
anything.
mean
Like, what-
anything.
No, but
What's
but
numbers?
here's the thing.
What's numbers?
It is-
That's the
But
problem.
no. I am going to push back here. The PlayStation, and this is somebody who didn't use it for like a year after I got it. Right, the PlayStation Portal has consistently sold pretty well, and ever since that announcement about cloud streaming on Tuesday, it has been sold out on places like Amazon. Like people are like, "Oh my god, I need a PlayStation Portal."
But sold out just
What-
means they don't have enough stock. Like, did they
Well,
sell out of their 5 units? Like, it doesn't mean
PlayStation
but no,
Portal,
what I'm saying,
PlayStation Portal
What-
has sold in the neighborhood of 500,000 units in a year, John. That's not blowing up anything.
for what it is, dude, like that's pretty
not
good.
for what it is. We're talking about the handheld market. Listen, John.
No, but
How
this
many
isn't a dedicated.
Switches? How many Steam Decks were sold at the same time?
Derek,
That's what I'm saying.
Derek, you're comparing apples and oranges.
No, I
The
think
Steam
you
Deck,
like what the Portal's doing for you, and that is making you say it's a good device, but it does not
Derek,
change the fact that it's not
it is a good
selling
device.
any kind of numbers.
Derek, you are comparing apples and oranges. The Steam Deck is a dedicated console that plays games.
That is literally
natively.
actually the point I was going to make before you cut me off.
Make the point. Make your
the point I
incorrect
was
point.
making
And
is
spicy.
that all of these streaming devices, right, that rely on streaming to provide their service, right, to provide their content, none of them are selling anywhere close to what, like, the Switch and the Steam Deck are the handheld success stories.
Yeah,
right?
but even so, like the Steam Deck has only sold about 5 million units. Like it's, you know, it is not like, you know, these devices outside of the Switch are still niche. Like they're all niche.
I mean, you're telling me that the Steam
outside
Deck
of the
sells
Switch.
three times as many units per year as the PlayStation Portal, and you're downplaying
right, but again,
that.
no,
Like,
I'm not downplaying
you
it. No,
are.
no, I'm not. What I'm saying is that these devices are still niche, aside from the Switch, right?
That is
because
the
it's got those.
point that nobody
Right,
wants
but-
the cloud streaming shit.
Mhm.
I disagree.
John, if they did, the PlayStation Portal would be selling 1.52 million a year, not 500,000 a year. The Logitech G Cloud would have been bigger. Like Xbox,
Like PSVR is not really considered a huge success. It did
Yeah.
okay.
I
And
mean,
like
well,
even those sold 5-6 million. Like
I mean,
Yeah.
Zach Davis says in chat, like it's 500,000 for just how limited the Portal
I
is as a
agree.
device. Like
I
that's pretty good.
I agree. I did not expect it would have sold 500,000, right? But we're trying to explain, like, actually, like, we're trying to grade the PlayStation Portal on a curve in this conversation. And what I'm saying is, if you get in the handheld market, you can make a PlayStation Portal or a Logitech G Cloud and sell 500,000 units in a year, right? And maybe that goes up a little bit with this new feature, but I don't know that makes a big difference because of where the gaming like market feels about game streaming, or you can look at what the Switch and the Steam Deck, which are two very different in terms of their sales numbers, right? Like it's night and day, but the number one and number two selling handheld gaming devices in this format, like that are dedicated gaming devices, are the Switch and the Steam Deck, and everything else is miles behind. So if I'm Xbox and I'm looking at getting into the handheld space, would I rather be Switch or Valve, or would I rather be Sony or Logitech? Which of these am I chasing?
But what I'm saying is this, like, before I would have said, well, you want to be Switch and Steam Deck, right? Like absolutely. But that's because something like the Portal was such a limited fucking device, and it really was. Okay, great, I can stream my games from my console. Like I can do that on my phone. Like big whoop-de-doo. But I simply think, what I'm saying is that I think the addition of cloud streaming on a device like the PlayStation Portal completely changes the game for that device and greatly enhances its appeal.
I think it will be by a matter of degrees rather than a matter of orders of magnitude is the thing.
But I don't think that
Feldy brought up a point in chat, like the Portal isn't even the only way to play games remotely, right?
Yeah.
Like you can play PS Now on an iPad with a DualSense.
Yeah, as Arturo brings up, technically, there's a ton of other handheld devices that are already Xboxes thanks to cloud streaming, right? That's one of the hard parts too of making like a portable Xbox that's streaming focused, or a portable like the PlayStation is that if you're offering a streaming service, then that's already on other devices. That could be on any device you make.
Rara is correct. You can play PS Remote Play on a Steam Deck, and it works pretty well.
Yeah.
There are a couple more hoops you got to jump through, obviously, but you install Chiaki on that thing,
but that just has to do with the fact that it was never originally like fully designed to do that, and it could be,
Speaking of things that are designed to do well, let's talk about Game of the Year nominees.
Oh my god, no! I don't want to talk about the Game Awards.
And no, so here's the thing.
He wants to get away because I've been spicy.
You haven't been spicy, bitch. I can handle a fucking. I can handle any spice you throw at me.
Here's the thing about.
Can we just talk about our games of the year and not give Keeley the time of day?
So people are talking about them, so we should talk about them.
I mean, that's a dangerous road to go down.
I do have one question for you guys. I got one question for you guys. I'm looking at the nominees for Game of the Year. Why is Black Myth Wukong on there?
Let's be blunt, I just do not care. Like I have no.
I don't.
Why is that there?
I don't take the Game Awards seriously, and neither
nobody
should anyone
should.
Else.
Nobody should, dude.
Black Myth Wukong is the most mid fucking game I've ever played. It is so.
Did you play it? Did you play it?
Yeah,
really?
and I remember. It's flashy and it's cool looking, but it's so fucking mid. It really is. And the only reason that it blew up, like in certain extremely because it's pretty and people love pretty shit, right? But also B,
incels weirdly glommed onto this game.
Really latched onto it. And there are better games that came out this year that should have been up there. Like a Dragon deserved to be up there well before Black Myth Wukong did. Persona deserved to be up there before Black Myth Wukong did.
I do want to point out
both indie and 1000X Resist is neither in best indie nor like best debut indie game, and that's a sin, especially as the most narratively bold thing I've played in many years.
Do you know what I think is cool though? Like I want to give a shout out to Balatro.
Oh, Balatro, fucking sweet, baby.
I've never even played Balatro.
All the cool kids are Balatro maxing.
I am happy that Balatro is on there. Seriously. Like it is about, and yes, for anybody asking, I think Game Awards are fucking stupid. I think it's nothing more than a meaningless fucking 3-hour E3 with some awards.
I'm just gonna watch. I'm not co-streaming the Game Awards this year. I'm not doing it. I'll just watch trailers later.
Maybe fucking Gonzo will come out. Maybe Elmo will come out and fucking be like, "Oh, video games!" Like and Jeff Keighley will act like they're a real fucking thing that that's living.
Yeah.
It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be stupid.
They'll bring
people
the two guys who do Stranger Things will come out for some reason to introduce
like you know, fucking The Rock, and the Rock will come out and introduce Moana the game at the end. That'll be the big reveal. But do you? Well, I'm sorry. One of my favorite presentation moments ever was still when the fucking cast of Fast and Furious came out and introduced that absolutely garbage Fast and Furious game. Crossroads or something.
Oh
Fast
my
and Furious.
god! None of it's gonna beat Vin Diesel in Arc 2, baby. Vin Diesel in Arc 2, baby.
That was so fucking good, dude. That was so fucking good. The Past of Us. But the Past and the Furious.
Hate it. I hate it.
I'm sorry, but that game's The Past and the Furious now.
They brought fucking Al Pacino out to have a dementia breakdown on stage.
Which actor are we gonna get? Didn't Nick Cage come out one year?
He might have. Fuck, I don't even remember.
He did. No, he did. He's like,
here's the thing.
Wow, the Game Awards.
There's all this shit about the Game Awards that's funny, but it's not funny because it's intentionally funny. It's funny because it's like, this is miserable. This is a miserable time. And
what was that? Do you remember when The Rock was in his gym at the Game Awards?
Yeah, and he just spent like 10
just drinking
minutes,
a fucking Red Bull.
10 minutes pushing his fucking energy drinks. Like,
Cam's in chat.
Oh, it was Summer Games Fest.
Summer Games Fest was Nick Cage.
Same thing.
Yeah. Fucking Al Pacino. Now, after we're done here, I have to go back and watch Al Pacino's presentation again because it's still one of my favorite moments.
The thing with the Game Awards is the more that I talk about it, the more I just get viscerally, actually mad because it's not a celebration of games at all.
I guarantee you didn't get as mad. You didn't get as mad as Jeff Keighley did in my DMs when I called them out publicly.
Oh, it's Jeff Keighley doesn't have the ability to be this mad. But like the there's no love given to the actual awards. So much more attention is given to random celebrities and actors and like Hollywood types than people who are like big in the actual games industry.
I mean, the games are an afterthought.
Yeah.
Let's face it. Like
the please wrap it up shit. The disrespect to the future class does make me want to
oh my god, I remember
an actual human being. And like, dude, I know this is me being a hater, but the 10 minutes of free advertisement for fucking Hideo Kojima to like stumble out to a laser light show and just basically be like, yeah, man, here's a couple actors I like.
Yeah,
I'm going to make a game.
I like Kojima's games, right? I don't care about I don't worship him like weird people do, but the breaking point for me was like when you saw how mad Keighley got after Kojima split from Konami and the energy he put into that, and then the year all the Activision Blizzard shit came out,
nothing,
and he couldn't
he
fucking
can't
muster
say a
anything.
Fucking word, for
that
all
was,
the
that
other
was
layoffs.
The last time I watched anything Keighley related, I'm like,
but one fucking dude that you have a parasocial relationship with fails to get a game out on time and gets fired for it, and you fucking throw a tantrum. God damn it. Suck shit, Jeff Keighley.
You say that, but we're still going to stream it because it's
I'm not.
I will simply because there's a ton of game announcements that'll be there.
I will do a counter
after the show. Just stream yourself watching all the trailers.
Yeah, I will do a counter stream at the exact same time, and all I will do is spend 3 hours roasting Jeff Keighley.
Well, I'm going to stream it for a very. I'm going to stream it for a very specific reason.
Finn and I ran into him at PAX West one year, and he was the most tired a human being has ever looked. And it was so clear he didn't know anyone he was talking to. Like, the fucking cocaine was wearing off. Like, eat shit, Jeff Keighley.
I'm streaming the Game Awards for a very specific reason this year. A reason that I'm not going to say publicly. But
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit.
That's fine. But that being said, the real Game Awards are actually the fucking shit like the BAFTAs, right? Like, the BAFTAs, the Golden Joystick Awards, like actual awards, right? Like this is like the Game Awards. Nobody should be under
some Spawnies. Love me some Spawnies.
The Spawnies, like the actual Game Awards. The fucking DICE Awards. That's the fucking Game Awards. That's the Game Awards. I didn't
know you brought up the
DICE.
BAFTAs. BAFTAs kind of a little more broad reaching, I think.
Yeah, but still, like, well, I had meant to say that I was thinking about the Dice Awards, and I just BAFTAs came out, but yeah, like, like it's a glorified fucking commercial. It's a glorified 3-hour commercial for games, and you'll inevitably see the same mobile trailer, about maybe 5 or 6 times throughout those 3 hours. With the kind of, like, unfortunately, like, whether we like it or not, like, Jeff Keighley kind of has a monopoly on the big game conferences right now. Like, summer game, like E3's dead; it's never coming back.
Yeah, but it's only because we let him, right?
Yeah, but what are we gonna do though? Like,
don't
what
watch
are we
his
gonna do?
shit. Don't watch his
the
shit.
trailers later.
Don't
watch the trailers on the PlayStation channel.
Don't restream. Don't, like, give it oxygen.
Here's the thing.
Pay attention to other
here's the thing.
shows.
It's the same reason why. Like, people talk about, like, EA, like, or like Ubisoft sucks shit. I'm still gonna play their games because I love video games and I love Prince of Persia, right?
It just
like,
sucks that every single year we do the Game Awards, and, like, we're all just miserable the entire time at how bad of a time it is. And we go, dude, this is, like, I don't know if I can do this again next year. But then we line up at the trough to slop up this fucking, just horf down this fucking liquid shit that's gonna get
Did you
poured
say
in there.
horf?
Yeah.
Did you say horf it down?
Horf it down, dude.
I am. Did you just come up with that? Because that's
just,
really
like,
good.
Is that the
You never
sound you
heard-
make while you're horfing it?
Are you
Is that
horfing
not
it?
a verb? I say that all the time.
I've never heard you say that
I
before.
mean, maybe not all the time, but yeah, just fucking
You've been my
horfing
best
down.
friend. You've been my best friend for years now, and I have not once ever heard you say,
Just
"John,
at
I'm horfing this
just
shit down."
like piggies at the fucking trough, just fucking and all this fucking trash that he pours in front of us.
I'm sorry. Is that a horf? Is that a horf?
That's close. Yeah.
Are you horfing that shit up? Yeah, like, I don't know. Like,
Straight up horfing it, and by it,
Horfing
let's just say my peanuts.
I am just as cynical about it as you are, Derek.
Yeah. I'm just mad is really what it is,
Like,
right? Like, I've got a smile on my face, but I'm so tired of Jeff Keighley. I'm so tired of what his shows have done to this industry. And
I'm tired of him too, but right now,
and I simply
there's
don't
no
want to give
viable
him any
alternative.
any oxygen, or bring him up ever again without without bringing up the fact that he's a fucking cokehead nepo baby.
Like, he sucks.
with
Yeah, no,
no
I agree.
love for the art form. So
He sucks.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, I think Jeff Keighley's a turd.
DM me, you
Personally.
fucking lanky bitch.
Loving Derek's energy right now.
I'll
Ain't it?
I'll never forget when he was DMing me during was it Summer Games Fest
Yeah.
while it was happening. He was
Yeah.
DMing me like,
It was before, but yeah.
you fucking you're wrong, and I want the evidence of what you're saying in my inbox by 9 p.m. Pacific. And I'm like, I don't work for you, bitch. Shut the fuck up.
Gargle my dick,
Like,
ass, and balls, you motherfucker.
Suck my dick from behind, Jeff Keighley.
and my ass
like,
from the front, if you can figure that out.
Juggle my balls in your mouth a little bit. Like, I'm not fucking, I don't know you shit. But
He's
yeah,
one of the only
like,
people I will truly get that heated about that have, like, any platform in this industry.
If any, I know there's some new people to the podcasting chat. If you haven't been able to pick it up, we're not fans of Jeff Keighley on this show.
No.
Not by a long shot. All right, Derek, we've hit 10:30.
Fine. I'll
Let's
chill
let's
the
go
fuck
ahead.
out.
Let's wrap it up. Let's go ahead and wrap it up here, guys. We greatly appreciate everyone tuning in. We've got some pretty cool stuff coming down the pipeline. We're expecting a review code for Redacted coming in, and I think Derek is going to be the one who's playing that.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot.
I'm
We'll see
I'm
what
very
happens. I'll
excited.
put Final Fantasy aside for Redacted.
I'm very excited about Redacted. It's probably one of the last major releases of the year.
Not as excited as I am about fucking Monster Hunter, but that goes without saying.
You are going to be so fucking unbearable. Unbearable
Listen
about.
to me. I'm going.
Oh, by the way, hey, Derek, we've got some new subs tonight. Thank you to everybody who subbed. Seriously, like
more than that, it's just good to see some folks like Ash and Zach in chat that I either haven't seen ever or haven't seen in a long time. In particular, like, I don't think I've seen Ash, like, on social media much since I moved to Blue Sky, and miss you, Ash. You're good folks. But yeah, I forgot what I was going on to before we went down this path.
I don't know.
Doesn't
I don't know
matter.
where you're going with that either.
It's a good show.
more
It's a good
time.
night. Thank you all for allowing me to be
You
incredibly aggro about Jeff Keighley. Like,
no, I get it, dude. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
I just
No,
don't, dude. Like, I love this industry and I love this art form, and I truly do see it as like artists and an art form. And the more of a corporate motherfucker you are, the more you treat this as disposable slop that is only worth like it's so
you're just
shallow.
horking that shit up. You're horking that shit up.
Horking is out. Horfing is in.
Horfing is in. You're ingesting it. Okay, I gotcha.
But yeah, just like and Keely's just one of those. I don't need to keep getting into it, but I love this art form and I love the arts, and that's always been a passion point for me. Is I wish people treated gaming as art. Like, we want to be taken seriously. People pretend they want gaming to be taken seriously, but then they won't treat it like art. And that kills me. So,
you know what I love? I love you guys.
I love you too, bub.
Jeff, I love you too, man.
I love you guys.
Oh, buddy. God, I love our community too. I just want to say that. Like,
I love you all in your own unique and different ways.
I think we have the coolest fucking community in the entire industry. We really are a small little family with a surprisingly large Discord. So for how small of a podcast we are. So if you're not a member of our Discord, there's a link right there. Join that shit. Get in there. We hover around 500 people, which is more than some much larger podcasts, which is pretty crazy. So hop in there. It's pretty active during the day too. A lot of people in there, a lot of cool people. It's heavily moderated.
Biggest little dweebs in the fucking space.
I like to say that we are the smallest podcast that punches much higher than we should be. To be honest with you,
fit that on a ribbon. Anyway,
yeah, I don't know what that means, but right, yeah, do that. All right, everybody, take care of each other. I got to get some sleep. I got to work in the morning. Take care of each other. Remember, kindness costs nothing. We'll see you next week.